Lightning like Steve McQueen, I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit, cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly, better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder, and I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you live every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to bring and break down 3 industry headlines for you to provide some actual insight into what all of this fucking data means out there and how you can actually apply it, utilize it, and implement it into your business and your daily lives to see a meaningful difference out there. It is Tuesday, the 12th today of July, and it is rocking out there in the freight world right now. There is always something to talk about no matter what. Dennis Everett, good morning, sir. He's over there watching over on YouTube. Reed Workman, good morning. And hey, as always, you guys, this show is brought possible every single weekday from my friends over at VHub. Access to trailers is something that is needed by everybody, whether you're a broker or a carrier alike. You need access to trailers. You need something to provide some substance out there, especially if you're a broker. I mean, you're going to be presented to this at one time. Can you provide a drop trailer pool for us? And now you have that exact option right now with my friends over at VHub. And what their current availability looks like is they have these dry vans out here in Clearfield, Utah, looking to be repositioned up into the Winnipeg, Manitoba area. And you get money to do it too, you guys. This is the best part about it. They pay you $18.50 to move a brand new dry van, and that is on top of the money you make by putting in that freight in the back of that trailer there. They also have them over in Paragould, Arkansas, as well as Glade Spring, Virginia. And again, you get paid $18.50 to do this, you guys. They are aware of the rising costs that are out there right now for our carrier partners, and this is a way to help offset some of those. And then for our domestic U.S. moves, we have some down in San Diego looking to head up to Spokane, Washington. You get paid $400 to do that, as well as San Diego going over to Irving, Texas, and that is up to $600 right now. So again, hit them up, vhubapp.com. My friends Xavier Campos and Stacy Steen, they will be in the audience here as always, and reach out to them. You guys do me a favor, let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. That always helps keep that neon light on that I know you guys all love so much. Excuse me. Wow. Whitney Fowler, favorite time of the day. Thank you, Whitney. You know what? Whitney just made my day. Everybody else, you guys can raise the bar up there. Good morning as well. Sonny Sharma, Orange Shirt Gang in the house. That's right, you guys. That's what we are. We are the Orange Shirt Gang. It's a thing. Stephen Mason, good morning. Austin, good morning from Rocky Mount. I love it. Pat Green, good morning, brother. I got a very special guest for you guys here today. The best looking man in freight, Mr. Kyle Lintner, is here to join me today. So Kyle, what's up, brother? How are you? Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me. Just navigating technical difficulties, but outside of that, doing well. How about you?
I navigate technical difficulties every time. Kyle.
Yeah, I'm of the same level of technical expertise as you, so it's always fun.
Just restart. Like that's fucking, it tends to work out every single time you do that. What's new in your world, man? What's new out in you're in Chicago. You're no longer down in, the sun-kissed times of Florida. So you're back up in Chicago because it's nice out.
Basically, yeah. I've decided I'm just going to follow wherever the warmth is. So no more Miami for the time being. Too hot down there. So up to here in Chicago. I'm not going to say I'll be here for long because I won't.
Exactly. You're out.
I'm enjoying the 2 months that it's warm here.
Oh, that's funny. Hey, we're up to day 67 of the Freight Coach tally of there still being a truck parking issue as well as a facilities issue. As always, I'm not going to stop talking about this until the drivers stop bringing this up to my attention here. And it's just one of those situations, man. I keep seeing it, and it's like the level of pettiness is, it's like, I get if, maybe some people don't notice these things, but I always notice the fucking high amount of grammatical errors in some of these signs. And that's what makes it like 10 times worse to me, is it's like, you can't even fucking spell right, and you're telling people they can't use the bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's just pure.
It's mind-boggling.
It is. It really is. Dude, I should start doing that, like the best sign of the week thing or something like that.
Yeah. There's plenty to choose from.
Yeah, it's easy for us to joke about because I'm not fucking dealing with that, but I'm sure some people might not find the humor in it. So I'll probably maybe not do that. Diesel went down. I guess if we're looking at it from a glass half empty or whatever the fuck you want to call it, 5.56 a gallon, it's down to right now. Not that that's anything to do cartwheels about or write home about or anything like that. It's still fucking extremely high. For example, it's still $2.23 a gallon higher than this time last year, which was pre-invasion of a certain country in Europe that they like to blame. As always, I get this information from the EIA. The EIA.gov is now back up and running. So we can officially say that
3
they
weeks.
are. Yeah, it was only 3 weeks in one of those crucial times that was out there, but they're back up. I get that. Again, you guys use that information to your benefit. That's out there. And again, I always got to plug my supporters on my show and Trucker Tools and what they do on their app. You pull the lane that you're running in there and it pulls up the most effective fuel along that. And again, it's free to all their users. It's a free app for drivers and everything else. And that is always a good price, no matter how you spin it. Matt Fink, we have to work in giant squid vampire into this conversation. I mean, shit, with the way that this things have been going the last couple of years, I wouldn't be fucking surprised if it's a breaking news that they found a squid vampire in the ocean.
Giant squids, vampire squids do exist in the ocean. They are out there. They're deep down. Sometimes they crawl around on Earth and they get their tentacles into financial aspects of all businesses, but that's a different story. So I did see, that said LinkedIn user. Is that the trick? If you're one of the unlucky few that's labeled as a LinkedIn user for this show, you have to type your name in.
Well, no, Matt Fink has some security settings on his account that doesn't allow it to be publicly shown, and I don't blame the guy. But so he puts that in there because it was I was down to like 3 different people, so he helped me expedite a lot of this. Let me see here.
I am also a LinkedIn user. Sometimes I hang out in the comment section here and it shows up as LinkedIn user.
Oh, there we go.
No idea how.
I know. I don't either at the end of the day. I don't fucking know what I'm doing most of this time. Sonny Sharma, he's driving across country right now doing some stuff. And I've been thinking about a few things in our industry. One of those things is we all know we're getting fucked with the cost of gold. Gold is also translation for diesel. I call it the price of gold right now, but we definitely need to start calling out some of those truck stop owners for the poor ass fucking service and markup on these items in these stores. What the fuck? As always, you guys, I'm a proponent of free speech on the show. So if this is your first time listening and you are turned off by the copious amount of times I will use the word fuck in this show, I'm just a forewarning right now. You might want to be aware of that. Yeah, man, it's wild. And like my friend, Matt Laird, he posted a picture of the truck stop and the shower and the fact that the drivers have to wear sandals in it because they're so fucking disgusting that, God knows what parasites are crawling around on those floors that are out there. And again, another massive selling point for somebody why wouldn't you want to come in to this industry if you have to shower with sandals on because it looks like fucking God knows what is growing on the floor of some of these showers. But anyways, I digress. Xavier Campos. What's that? You saw that?
See that picture on LinkedIn, yeah.
Yeah. Dedicated Trucking. What's up, Lewis? He's may or may not be on the podcast coming up here soon. Just throwing that out there. You never know. But hey, man, you want to break down some fucking articles or what?
Let's do it. Let's see if we can get through 3.
I know. Kyle has obviously been on this show. He's a regular out here because he's committed to changing this industry. And Kyle and I don't agree on everything. Just throwing that shit out there, you guys. And it's fine. We're here to it's not about either one of us being right. It's about us actually finding a solution to certain things. And, that's what we are committed to. We're committed to shattering the silos of this industry, to keeping people in business and helping people navigate through any freight market out there. Because no one data source and no one news source. And frankly, like I say all the time, you guys do your own research on everything that we talk about here. Don't take everything I say and as like the end all be all, because I don't fucking know everything. And I want you guys to formulate your own opinion on this, but clickbait headlines and are my big problem. And it's like the people are going to read a headline and then formulate an opinion off of that. So we are out here to break some of this stuff. Then you are wrong, coach. Come on, Tony Darnell. Don't talk to me like that. You know how sensitive I am. Anyways, first article we're going to break down is from Freight Waves today. Freight demand takes summer dip as rejection rates tumble. I'm just confused by the headline in its own right there. Let's see here. Volumes take an expected blow from Independence Day. Signals from the outbound tender volume index, OTVI, will be a bit erratic until next week. So this came out on Friday the 8th, FYI. As a holiday noise for Monday, we'll be skewing volume levels, and it's calculated on a 7-day moving average. Since freight demand on July 4th was effectively absent, the current dip should not be alarming itself. Nevertheless, demand from retail shippers is historically quiet in this period until mid to late August, which retailers begin to restock their shelves for back to school season. Given that many retailers already have record levels of inventory, slowing consumer demand, even the traditional peak in August and September might be less peaky than usual. Okay. OTVI fell an unsurprising 10.6% on a week-over-week basis as holiday noise affected this week's data. And the year-over-year basis is down 15.22%, although year-over-year comparisons can be colored. Okay, can you explain to me what the fuck that means? The OTVI fell unsurprisingly to, is it like, are they saying that contracted tenders were rejected at 10.6%, 10.60%?
Yes and yes. So I think I'm putting words into somebody else's column now. I think what they meant by the unsurprising comment was that because of the holiday, we saw them dip. So that's what's unsurprising.
Okay.
A lot of this article is surprising to me.
Yeah. Go. You put your piece out. I've already read enough of the article. What's your stance on some of this stuff?
If you stop and look at just the chart when the OTVI or the chart when they labeled the contract load accepted volume, and they show it, you can see the comparison year over year from this year, last year, and the year before. I think every single person inside of freight would think that 2021 was unsustainable and something that was beyond normal. Yes. I mean, let's call it what it was. It was crazy. And that wasn't good for anyone.
Yeah.
So if we look at where we are now this year in comparison to last year, year over year across that entire time, we see that for a majority of 2022, call it the first quarter, volumes exceeded last year on a year-over-year basis. And since the beginning of Q2, we are at sometimes above or slightly below the same amount of volume as last year. So why is it that we now think of this year somehow as a bloodbath, or that this creeps into that area when people talk about how we're getting into a recession, both in freight and overall in the economy? If we're going to continue to compare everything to a year, and freight is no different than the general economy as far as last year is concerned, where every single person agrees it was unsustainable, why should we act surprised when we see any drop whatsoever compared to last year? We should expect to see things down from last year in every measurable capacity. And when we look at one where it is not down, it isn't even down at all. It's flat roughly, sometimes higher. That's significant demand. The only difference freight-wise between this year and last year is contract rates are above spot rates. That is it. The one and only difference inside of the industry. Yeah. And now we're going to call this the Great Purge or whatever. We'll keep changing the name until it fits the narrative. But the actual underlying story is that freight demand, as measured by accepted tenders, is extremely high.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and then because it goes on to saying here, rejections rates fell below 7% on Thursday. Yep. Then it goes on, a stay of execution last week, the tender rejection rates rose and briefly stayed above 8%. If that's factoring in the holiday, of course, tender rejections are going to rise because drivers are home and everything else, and they're going to reject it. And again, it's like, I don't know the answer to this question, but is a tender rejection counted as one in the waterfall of 10 providers that are on there? Or is it one if all 10 reject that said load? But again, it's like, it's going to fall down there because of the fact that it's the holiday. If that's a rolling 7 day, if I'm understanding this right. And again, I went to public school, so fucking give me a pass here. With a run on a rolling 7-day cycle, that would include the holiday. And obviously rejections are going to increase, and they didn't even increase that much. Like when we're talking about overall 1% that you're looking at. But again, it's like, it's to Kyle's point, you have to remove the anomaly year of 2021. But when you look at overall volumes between 21 and 22, we're very fucking close. Like, and those overall freight volumes are significantly above where they were in 2019 when the last freight recession, or whatever the hell you want to fucking label it to get some clicks, says. But at the end of the day, freight volumes are up overall, though, you know? And that's what I want. And I would be singing a very different tune on a lot of this stuff if freight volumes started to jump off of a cliff, but they're not. Freight is still moving. There is still plenty of opportunity that is out there for people.
Yep.
Yeah. And, you know, hold on. I don't even know if I want to. Yeah. It just kind of goes on and beats the tune of the same drum throughout this entire article. And again, as always, you guys, I fucking feel the need to say this. I'm not saying that there aren't changes that are happening or anything like that. I just know that there is a whole story that needs to be told, and one thing or another. Because again, it's like what's confusing me the most right now, Kyle, on a lot of these things is you have completely contradicting fucking reports that are coming out right now, you know, and then we'll jump into this one on this next article here. And again, you guys, I put all the article links out there on the YouTube channel, The Freight Coach, as well as the audio only of Coffee with the Freight Coach, which has the audio only replay of all the shows out there. Again, you guys can find all the article links on that. But again, this is going to jump into our next article, which is from FreightWaves. Again, it's about the Long Beach container backlog crosses the red line as delays mount. And it's like you see some article come out that says that, oh, there's nothing coming. There's no freight. There's no ocean freight. Everything else, you know, bookings are this and that. But but then you have 80% of the other data that's out there that says, no, there's a fucking backlog. There is freight that's still coming in here. We haven't even unkinked the kink from fucking last year.
Yeah. I get confused myself with this a little bit because it's exactly what you said, that which one is a routine, but let's just take it for what it is. And Long Beach and LA are seeing their delays. I'm going to believe that. Everything that I have seen data-wise supports that. I find it to be the truth, especially because we're seeing people behave in a manner that is in accordance with that. All I mean by that is that we're seeing shifting volume to the East Coast away from the West Coast. It's just too backed up. The interesting thing here to me on this article is, what is this going to do in relation to AB5? Because if we think about what that really means, it has to do with time, because that's the differing factor between someone that's an employee of a company, a W-2, and somebody that's just an independent contractor. That contractor model is going to get paid on the load. The employee is going to get paid on his time. If we continue to see all these problems in the ports out in LA, we're talking about drayage drivers. Those guys, it is time. I don't know how all of that gets sorted out in relation to what we're seeing already in these ports. You know, some people think we'll see more and more volume continue to shift to the other ports, but if you read everything coming out of Savannah, New York, New Jersey, and Charleston, they're at capacity themselves. We can't divert everything. And for what it is, Long Beach and LA are by far the largest. They have to accept and absorb the majority of the volume. They've got their own problems there. If they have those issues, then I have the same curiosity as you do, is how does all of these problems, how do they fit into the idea that, you know, the sky is falling in trucking? Because if the sky was falling, there'd be people showing up to fix this problem, right?
Yeah.
If you were that thirsty for business, sure, let me just go there and run these. No.
Well, I mean, yeah, and that, because like the overall of this article, you guys, which was, you know, titled, the second one that we're talking about here is Long Beach container backlog crosses red line as delays mount, and it's talking about a fee that they've been talking about implementing for fucking 10 months, and that fee is not being implemented at all. And that's the thing, is it's like, with, you know, obviously with AB5 going into effect this week, it's if you're looking at everything that's out there about ships in dock and everything else that's out there, you know, I saw the Port of Houston's backed up, but Port of Mobile, Jacksonville, fucking literally every port is considered backlogged right now from the information that I've done. Now, is that every single port in the United States? No, it's not. For the love of God, I don't need to fucking hear that's not everywhere. Okay. But with that being said, the major ports are backed up right now. And then you see data from, you know, I mean, we'll call data from the JOC comes out, you know, and they obviously have a massive data company, a little thing called the S&P. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but, You know, there's a lot of fucking shit that runs through there, and they have a different data set that's saying that, you know, at the end of the day, there is still a lot of freight out there. And that's what I guess, to kind of tie into our first article here, from a freight volume perspective, I would guess there is going to be a steady volume of freight volumes going in. Now, that has nothing to do with the spot market prices, you guys. All right. I'm not comparing freight volume spot market prices. What I'm comparing is the opportunity that is going to be there still, due to the amount of freight volumes that are currently in the United States, as well as sitting out in the fucking ports right now, that need to be processed, cross-docked, transloaded, and set out on a 53, or put on an intermodal car or something like that, that's going to make it to another city where it's going to be needing to be cross-docked or delivered on the container itself. So a lot of what I'm seeing right now is yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty that might be out there, but there's also a lot of opportunity that it's going to continue. I can't see, and Kyle, please correct me if I'm wrong, I don't see anything right now that says the next 60 days there's going to be a drop off in anything.
No, completely agree. I don't think the next 6 months volumes are so strong that they would have to fall off a cliff for them to be tangibly bad.
Yeah.
You know, and to look at this another way too, for those not following, I recommend Jason Miller. He puts a lot of stuff on LinkedIn. He put it out this morning. If you look at this from ton miles, which I am not the biggest fan of, and I'm public record saying so, it's not as straightforward of a measure of demand, but ton miles for 2022 are higher than in any year at any time during the year. So any way you want to look at this from a demand perspective, it is extremely strong. And all things looking forward, as much as everybody wants to point to inflation or rising interest rates, first of all, the two offset each other. And from an inflation perspective, it's completely overblown. Inflation, as far as we're concerned, has to do everything with the price of oil. And if that is retreating, the interest rate thing, for everybody that wants to freak out about interest rates, at this time next year, we're going to be cutting them, so you can calm down. Freight demand's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I would wholeheartedly agree with that. Again, you guys, that article was from FreightWaves talking about Long Beach container backlogs going up there. And again, the overall, like, I didn't read much from it because to me, it was kind of just banging the same drum throughout the entirety of it about a potential fee that they've been talking about implementing literally since like fucking October of last
like
year.
The fees are the reason, right? Everyone's holding on to these containers to make money. It has nothing to do with the fact that they can't physically move them.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. And you know, that's the thing, man, is because it's like, you see it, like, I always think this shit's funny. Like when people are posting pictures in the state of California yesterday, I mean, like, oh, noticing something absent from the road and there's no it's like, what, you fucking took the one picture where there's not. Like, there is, again, I think what you will see, I know that there are a bunch of groups that are lobbying to Newsom right now out in California, who's the governor out there, about them making truck drivers, whatchamacallit, from the bill, from AB 5, removing them from it entirely, that they can, you know, reclaim their independent status. And again, it's not that to me with AB 5, yes, it's a fucking absolute atrocity of a bill, in my opinion, because I am always going to be about pro business. I am like, if you want to choose to be an employee of somebody, you could have easily chosen that. But what it's doing, in my opinion, is removing the right to choose. All right. That's what it's doing. It has removed the right to choose that you want to be an independent contractor at that point. And that's all good. But to me, it removes that right from somebody. And I don't agree with the government telling anybody what the fuck they can do. And that's on every single topic out there. I'm pro business on every single level. But yeah, I think that we're going to see some, I don't even think that people can fathom what we're going to see from this. And it's the precedent that's set, that now naturally you're going to see it next out in New York and New Jersey. And it's just going to trickle down most blue states, because that's, you know, let's call it what it is. It's a very partisan side of the aisle that's pushing this a lot. And you're going to see the Port of Newark, I think, is going to be next in line. New Jersey, New York is going to implement something like that. And that's going to be the next domino to fall in all of this. And I would be surprised up in Washington, Oregon as well. That's just what you're going to see. And it's, again, I'm going to hope that it doesn't happen, but it's a lot bigger issue than most people think. I think it's going to fucking kill the owner operator model. There's no
essentially enormous. Yeah. And there's no port really here in Chicago, but if it's going on the rails, it's ending up here at some point. So it's the same sort of drayage opportunity.
It is, man. It is. It's not just the ports. Like, you're right. Like, think about all the major rail yards that are out there. Chicago, for example, we all know which way Chicago leans. So I don't even need to say what the state of Illinois is going to do, but again, like that's another one. Yes, Brandon Reeder, freedom is right. Josh Krause wants to know, what's your preferred metric for demand?
Oh, good question, Josh. We touched on it earlier. My favorite way of looking at all of this is what FreightWaves calls now that contracted load acceptance. It used to just be taking out tender rejections from the tender volume index. That is my favorite because 80 to 90% of all truckload loads go contract. Spot's only 10 to 20%. So if we look at what the contracted volume is, and if you look at it from FreightWaves perspective, I like it because these are accepted tenders. So it's every single time a tractor is picking up a 53-foot trailer and moving it somewhere. My issue with ton miles is if I have a load that's a trailer full of feathers, it weighs whatever. If I have a load that's a trailer full of rocks, it weighs something different. Also, how far I move that load might not necessarily be a measure of my efficiency. That could be what the shipper is opting for, but it's taking the same amount of hours of service out of the day for the truck that moved it. So between the weight of what's going in the truck and the mileage of how it's being pulled, I don't like ton miles. I don't like ones that deal with dollars. How much should we pay in shipments, because that obviously is tied to whatever the rates are and also the mileage. So because we have hours of service, that is the one common denominator in the industry, how far basically and how many hours of the day those trucks can be moved. I like to see what they are accepting tender wise. And I think that is the truest level of demand that we can show right now. My ideal would be that hours of service. How many aggregated hours of service are we using from what is available in the network? Hopefully someday somebody will come out with that.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for somebody to create a data.
It's there. People have it.
Yeah, that's the thing. And as always, we're not even gonna be able to get to the third article because Kyle and I set a record.
We can't say really quick about that last article. That last article ties into everything that we just said about this one, and that's that the rail lines are now themselves all messed up, and this is partly why the ports are messed up, and this is all why we have much more volume than everybody says so.
And that article was from the JOC. It's new data reveals depth of intermodal service woes, and to kind of briefly tie in, like to Kyle's point there, it does. The data is somewhat limited utility because it measures the percentage of trains that are arriving at their destination terminal within 24 hours of the schedule and everything else. On a composite basis, approximately 1 out of every 4 intermodal trains operating in the United States arrived at its destination more than 24 hours behind schedule in the 8 weeks that ended on June 29th. And that average railroad time on-time percentage, most alarming on-time performance was just 73%, the lowest yet recorded in 73 in the last 2 weeks. Intermodal volumes handled by U.S. Class 1 railroads dropped 6.2% year over year in the first half of 2022. And I think that, again, to kind of tie a lot of this in, you guys, intermodal is the most cost-effective way to move overall tonnage. I know Kyle hates that, but overall tonnage, it's the most cost-effective model that's out there, but it increased transit times. And what you found is, with that dip year over year is it was cheaper. I would say is more cost comparison to move at OTR and get it there faster than it would be to save a couple of bucks and have it show up 7 days after the fact and everything else. So a lot of that stuff is tied in. And what we saw was a mad rush for inventory last year. We saw a mad rush of getting shit in and getting shit on the shelves because of the 2020 backlogs that were caused by the whatchamacallit shut down. I don't even want to fucking utter those words anymore. But again, that's what you saw. And again, I think all things considered, you guys, we're seeing a massive rebalance. All right. We're seeing a massive rebalance of people going back to the traditional ways of how they ship stuff. There is no urgency anymore to move shit at the volume that there was over the last 18 months, I'll call it. And then the rail is, being the rail. All right. There is only like, I would say 3 real providers on the rail that actually own the shit. You know, I mean, in my opinion, UP Streamline and CSX are pretty much the ones. And those are the 2 main ones. And those things are, you guys, the rail is not like, yeah, you can fit a fuckload more trailers on that, but there's only so many trains. You know, there's not a fucking assembly line of trains pumping out brand new capacity like there are in the OTR market. So again, like you're going to see the natural inabilities of some of these modes of transportation that kind of come to light with it. Again, it's good information. I'm a massive fan of the JOC and a lot of the data that they put out there because they have a lot of data sources that they pull from, and they have a ton of data overall. JOC.com on that one. That's kind of it for today, Kyle. What's some final parting words of comfort that you have for anybody out there?
There is a ton of freight available. You just need to know where to look for it.
Yeah. As always, it's somebody's moving it, you guys. And that's the thing is there's an opportunity everywhere. All right. No matter what the national average, yes, there is validity to the national average, but that does nothing on a lane by lane basis. It tells a very different story that's out there. The opportunities are there. It might just not look the same as what it did 12 months ago is all it is, but you need to find that solution as always, because if you're not going to find that solution, a fucking competitor of yours is finding that solution and somebody's moving that freight. Matt Fink says, one of the best conversations to date. Good, authentic stuff. Insight, lacked a bit of energy, but yeah. Okay. It seems like no one wants to really think about what they do at the ports and railroads. It's fixable. Yes, everything is fucking fixable.
Everything. All right?
Everything is fucking fixable. Corey Morris, thank you, sir. Austin, thank you. Appreciate it. Live every single weekday, you guys, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central. We're not stopping. We're going to show up every fucking weekday, you guys, because I'm pro business. I'm pro America. As you guys can fucking see, I'm pro keeping people in business. All right. At the end of the day, collectively as an industry, we have to work together to shatter these traditional silos and actually provide education and insight to keep people in business. That's what we're all about here at the Freight Coach Network. Kyle, how does anybody reach out and connect with you?
You can find me trolling on LinkedIn.
He is the troll of all trolls. I'm just kidding. That's it for today, guys. We'll be back tomorrow. I appreciate